I am in rare form in the fact that I've actually managed to start at exactly the time I wanted to. One of my pads on my mouse has been crumbs. Sorry, just give me a quick second here. I gotta check a quick update. Okay, we've got our encoding options. I'm struggling a little bit with a sort of a pad on my mouse coming loose. So every once in a while, as I try to move it across the table, it catches. So I'm going to try and fix that. Unless I have some kind of adhesive, I think it's a fairly remote chance that that's going to be a long-term fix. But let me see if I can at least put it down for tonight. And I still got to get Stellaris up. But yeah, no, I'm happy that I'm able to start on time, and I'm hoping that is going to be a feature moving forward, at least for as long as I can. I did take a quick look at the upcoming schedule, so we've already passed the weekly Game Dev Collectives meetup. And I noticed that on the 30th, there is a day of truth and reconciliation. So on the 30th, that is a day off, but I don't normally stream on the 30th. So I think the only time that I'll be missing a stream will be on the 11th. That will be Thanksgiving in Canada. So that is going to be a Monday. That means that we have another interruption to Stellaris. But that'll be a while in the future. Now, one thing I'm a little worried about with Stellaris, which should be on the screen in a second, is there was a new update for the game, the Lem update, named after Stanislaw Lem, who is probably best known for Stellaris. Oddly enough, a film that he didn't, I seem to remember he had some nasty things to say about the Hollywood version of it, but then actually got back and said that, you know, in retrospect, it maybe wasn't so bad. He didn't fully endorse it, and I think so I've not actually read Stellaris, but I do sort of have an idea of where it goes and what it's about, and I think he was a little bothered, I think most likely by the marketing campaign, which sort of seemed to make it seem like a space love story. You know, obviously the Tarkovsky film is very much not that. I actually quite liked it. But I actually think the Steven Soderbergh one deserved much better reviews than it did. I actually thought that was a fairly good film, and I'd actually really like to read the original material, because of course I've now seen two different takes on the source, two very different takes on the same source material, and I don't know, I'm intrigued by what I'll find, sort of having seen these two different takes. I did just get a quick message. I want to take a second to see that. Sorry about that. So, greetings. The custodians have arrived. Shaping your empire has become more freeform than ever, as selectable tradition trees have been added to the game. This means you can now select the traditions you wish to pursue throughout the game, choosing from the already existing ones or some of the newly added traditions that also arrive with this update. Several origins and civics, like Shattered Ring and Necrophage, have been rebalanced to bring them more in line with each other or unlock combinations that were not allowed before, Necrophage hive minds. With this patch, we have added new content to several existing DLCs, specifically the Plantoids and Humanoid species packs, with a new origin and several new civics and species traits. In addition, we have included many bug fixes and smaller improvements that you can find detailed in our patch notes. Save games from previous versions may not be compatible with version 3.1. If you wish to continue your old save in version 3.0.4, follow the forum link below and read the thread how to revert Stellaris back to a previous version. Now, I'm curious about the may, so let's jump in. I am actually going to see if this works. Might have dodged a bullet. I'd like to continue it if I can. Delves 22nd of his name reporting. I guess I'd normally say Delves 22nd of his name. But I actually also try and do my best. So I fall into the habit that everyone does. I try wherever I can to be neutral, and so I do try to default to their name. I fail at it a lot. Obviously, the one most interesting thing, or at least, I mean, there's a couple things that people have said in chat which have surprised me, but I do, where I can, try and... Oh, interesting. I mean, maybe I would have made different decisions along this line here, but for the most part, any data I've seen sort of indicates that my audience is actually much closer to me than I had thought. There are a couple things that people have said in Twitch that surprised me, and that might just speak to the difference between the YouTube and the Twitch audience. So, you know, as a whole, probably on average, I think most people are messieurs rather than miladies. But where I can, I try to avoid it, just because it's probably not good to just assume that everybody's a he. But now that I've got the confirmation, hello Delves, 22nd of his name. How you doing? Okay, so obviously we are attempting to continue on with our Fear playthrough. Now, the AI is pretty darn strong right now. We don't see it here. But yeah, needless to say, they're at what is it, 1800, 2500 strength. Also, I do apologize for the mild distraction that I'll have. It is election day in Canada, so while I don't want to particularly follow, I don't want to follow like every second of the election. I'm not going to put like a ticker up or anything like that. My phone is going to wind up giving me a lot of push notifications, and I do try to check out the push notifications just because they're hard to distinguish between a news event and something... you know, like a friend asking for an emergency or something like that. The worst thing is that I did have a friend who actually had something very serious happen to them while I was broadcasting. And I was able to check the messages. I was able to follow up on it. But, like, having had that happen now, I'm really, really gun-shy about sort of neglecting my... neglecting my phone as much as it sort of makes me a little phone obsessed. So again, it doesn't really translate to the best streaming atmosphere, but I'll do my best. I could be topical with the LEM update, Clone Trooper. Oh, very nice. Hey, The Exception. Thank you very much for the resubscription. My God, 42 months. Okay, so this one clearly needs a new set of districts. As does this one. All right, but we need the minerals for that. How you doing, The Exception? Thank you very much for your continued support. I'll actually mention this is probably not going to be relevant to the people watching the channel, but I have been asked to take some time off work. It's like my choice as to when I do that. Like it's nothing like, oh God, I'm in trouble. But the fact of the matter is I have something like 5 weeks of holidays over the limit of what I'm supposed to have. So it's not that I just have 5 weeks of holidays. It's that there's a limit to how much holiday time I can carry over.
Our construction is complete.
And I am 5 weeks above that. So I'm really far out on that number. And I think the way it works is that if I take it as a holiday, it comes out of just a general budget for where I work. Whereas if I like try and cash it out, which is actually a viable option for some people, it comes out of the my division's budget, and my division is probably very conscious about that difference. So I think basically they've been saying it's like, yeah, you should probably book some holidays, and we're going to keep bugging you about that until you do. So you're just going to be checking the stat. Well, let me know how things are going. I mean, I will not be surprised if Atlantic Canada goes liberal. It's probably more surprising if it doesn't go liberal. But yeah, if there's anything that catches your attention, feel free to bring it up, and I'm happy to do that. Anyways, so obviously the people's choice will be for me to take all of that time and stream for all of it, and I will actually be using some of that time for broadcasting. But I'm actually trying to turn it into something a little more, I don't know, like overall useful. So I will just mention one of the things that I'm going to try and do before too long. I've got a couple of projects that I need to finish off, but I'm going to try and put out an open call both for data project and streaming. Some of you may know that on occasion I do Steam broadcasts. So a developer will ask me to stream their game on Steam. It's actually something I really enjoy doing. And it's a tricky one. So my view is that for data and streaming projects, I am actually still open to working for free. I prefer getting paid, as everyone does. But my sort of breakdown has always been, if a project is sufficiently interesting to me, or a developer is, really, doing something that I think is really worthwhile, I'm not opposed to volunteering that, because that means, supporting something that I think is going on. So, I'll give you an example which would be really hard for me. So if Respawn said hey, we got some data, would you be able to look at it? I'm like, well, is there money involved? They're like, well, we were hoping this would be a volunteer thing. It's a tricky one, right? Because Respawn has made some wonderful games. You've got Titanfall 2, you've got Apex Legends, you've got Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So this would be a data set I'd be very interested in, right? Very large numbers of players, lots of activity going on, lots of changes being done, things that developers are specifically focusing on and making changes to. This would be a tremendous opportunity. On the other hand, I think they've got $2 billion in bookings for EA or something like that. What do you mean you can't pay me? But, or a great example would be, Kitfox Games obviously was wonderful in letting me access their data, and they're a smaller company. They are obviously a company that has met with enough success to be able to continue doing what they're doing. but I'm not going to turn around and ask them for money to do that work that I did. One, because they took a shot on me when nobody else would, but also because I think they're doing something really worthwhile. And more importantly, they're sharing those insights with a broader audience. And I mean, it's nice to be able to write blogs for them. So that's the sort of thing where it would be like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that for free. But with all that in mind, if you have a game that you're working on, or if you know somebody who has a game that you're working on, and you either have some data that you want looked at, doesn't matter if it's sales or player data, but if you're looking to try and angle it towards my interests, I am actually really interested in seeing player data, like specifically things that are happening as the game is being played. And more importantly, if you are looking to try and get a little attention for your game on Steam, I am looking to do more of that. And if you are worried about the money thing, like, that is a very easy conversation to have. I have actually also been told that my rates are very reasonable. The last person I talked to about them thought they were so reasonable they actually increased the amount. So, I say that knowing that most of you are probably not going to be in a position to do that, but I thought I would at least say that. And I'll put something on Twitter to say as much as well, but I do have a couple of data things I'm working on for people, and I figure it would be nice to give some deliverables for those before I start banging the drum for some more work. And I mean, if nothing else, I'll just try and find the best time for me to take the time off. I'll try and add some extra streams or something. And some of you will be pleased to know I'm not quite ready to pull the wrapper off this thing yet, but I have been working on something. I've got about 12 or 13 hours recorded for a new thing. That was actually after having to destroy... You know what? I can see exactly how much I lost. Oh, ouch. 14 hours. Yeah, so I got 12 hours for this new thing. The old thing I was actually 14 hours in. Oh, that's so frustrating. So I have 24 hours of recorded material, but I don't know if people want to see the incomplete one, because something similar happened where there was an update pushed out, and it wasn't just that it was incompatible. Like, the incompatibility was something that broke my old save. I could not progress any further on it, and the update was kind of a surprise. So anyways, sorry for the long digression. Let's get back to Stellaris. And I've actually not played Jedi Fallen Order yet, but I am looking forward to playing it. Archaeological project completed. We have learned that the Irasians used a listening post on the asteroid LA4863 to spy and plan attacks on neighboring civilizations during the expansionist phase of their empire. These attacks met with dramatic success, and the Irasians soon became the dominant power in this section of the galaxy. By the time they were decimated by the Javorian Pox, this listening post had long since been abandoned by the Irasian military. An interesting find. So now we can get back to exploring and expanding our borders. Construction ship's sort of sitting idle right now, but that's fine because I do need to take the opportunity to boost my my fleet. I hope you're all doing well. I'm actually really pleased to see so many people in at the start. I know normally I have a little bit of a sort of a ramp-up period. Okay, Wasat is... Okay, no, we already know about the crowding. Although... We're out of jobs here. Yeah. I kind of want to do the alloys, but I also kind of want the extra district for the capital world. Well, that's something that's going to be decided a little bit later. Oop. 135. Alright, this planet won't be so bad for the... Actually, why am I making this one so focused on food? Surely Wasset Prime and
We have found an anomaly.
Powder Prime. Okay, I should probably convert these farms into something a little more interesting. A colossal impact crater hints that something big collided with the surface of this planet once.
We have surveyed the system.
So we don't have the... Oh, we do. Okay. Kind of wanted to get that that expansion added as quickly as I could just because of the influence costs. When you tried loading one of your old saves, it was crippled. The UI was having a rave, but that might have just been your particular setup. Yeah, I will confess I'm a little intrigued by the fact. Normally I'm done for when my, when there's a new update. But for whatever reason, it seems like we dodged a bullet. FTL impact. A massive crater on Ejok 1 appears to be the result of a collision with a starship. From the size of the crater, we suspect that a ship exiting a hyperlane at maximum velocity rammed the planet for reasons unknown roughly 10,000 years ago. The hateful hydrozoan has picked up residual subspace echoes near this crash site reminiscent of a collapsed hyperparticulate field, but as the ship itself disintegrated on impact, the theory cannot be verified. It's a little funny the UI would be affected by it. Oh, there are blocker... Wait. I'm an idiot. Should probably also develop these dust caverns before too long. I guess I need the tech for that. Index Gnome, how you doing? Alright, so it seems to me like harmony's the way to go here. So, harmonious directives. The enlightened decrees of our benevolent leadership will spread peace, freedom, justice, and security throughout the entire Star Nation and beyond. So, oh, extra edict capacity. Interesting. They're really adding stuff on this. So we can get those capacity subsidies after all. Okay, so for the most part we're okay. I think I am going to build a hive district when I can on Powder Prime, but we can leave that for later.
Our construction is complete.
The new traditions tab, in terms of what you were affected by, or the things that you don't like in terms of the update? Velonis 3 strategic resource discovered. During its survey of Velonis 3, the hateful hydrozoan discovered several exotic gases previously unknown to us. These gases have a variety of different uses, particularly in the operation of advanced energy-based weaponry and force fields. Some of the gases can also be used as starship fuel or even as recreational drugs. While we do not yet possess the means to extract this resource, we should seriously consider establishing control over the system for future exploitation. So that sounds like a good idea simply because it's really the only place I can expand to.
We have surveyed the system.
So we're currently blocked here. Cider will be nice to take, but I feel like we should probably I think I am going to move on to the Elthior system. One, just because that lets me block this off on my own time. And then it also lets me sort of move forward. If anything, Volanus is desirable just simply as sort of a choke point. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, we're obviously not that far into the game. I've definitely had weird stuff happen, and I mean, I've taken longer to get started on games for sure, but at this point, I'm feeling, I don't know, I feel like we're in a decent enough spot.
We have found an anomaly.
I don't think I need to mess around with this. An object that reflects our sensors has been located in the Volanus asteroid field near CCC 4234. Visual observation has identified the object as polygonal in shape, but due to a lack of scanner data, little else is known. So basically, we're gonna double back on the expansion. For now, I'm just going to settle for building more Corvettes. Did I mention that I was doing a test for a game developer, like a game publisher, on Friday? Because I finished it on over the weekend. I feel like they gave me a lot more time than I needed, but better than the other way around. And actually, oddly enough, I got, in addition to that, I got a couple more interviews, and then somebody at a company got back to me with an apology. It's like, hey, sorry for the late reply. Here's some stuff that you might find interesting. So I went from like, oh man, like nobody wants to talk to me to, stop, I've got too many. So that was a bit of good news. I'm sorry, I hate that I'm doing this. I am actually going to sneak a peek at the election returns, or at least try and find what the what does Apple News say about this actually? Ooh, ouch. Okay, so the campaign chair for the Conservative Party says that holding Trudeau to a minority would be a win for the Tories, so they're definitely managing expectations. I know the NDP was also not really... I know they're not really... they're like kind of... What's the right way to put it? Like people had these seat projections, and I'm guessing their internal polling didn't line up with it because people definitely didn't. I guess they didn't like really. Didn't really. I don't know. Like I don't know quite the way to say it, but like the numbers they were saying did not reflect that. Let's say. Okay, so there's 6 ridings. I don't know if this is... Ugh. I'm very glad that they've provided this tool, but I actually have no idea how to read this chart. So basically there's lightly shaded... What I'm looking at right now, there are lightly shaded regions. And I don't know if that means like who's currently leading. And essentially all that tells me is that of the polls that have turned in, ones that support that particular candidate are the ones that have reported, which means absolutely nothing because if anything, watching the US election is definitely... kind of reminded everyone that these things kind of change. And most annoyingly, so apparently this is from the Canadian press. Like, yeah, so it doesn't really say whether or not it's been called or whether or not that's information coming up. But that's a really good reason for me not to take a look at that information. So, all right, puzzling polygon. The hateful Hydrozoan crew has recovered the reflective polygonal object near CCC 4234, bringing it on board for a detailed study. The object's most intriguing quality is its ability to reflect most types of low-frequency energy beams directed towards it. High-frequency energy beams, however, remain unaffected, making the object's properties useless with regards to any potential fleet defense applications. Despite extensive examination, the hateful Hydrozoan research team has been unable to determine the function or origin of this particular polygon. It appears to be hollow, but its metalloid surface is engraved with some kind of scientific notation. Though the full meaning of the codified data eludes us, Sir Gwynward believes it relates to wormhole metrics. A research team was able to glean some fascinating insights into wormhole theory by studying these notations. Whatever purpose this object was created for, however, is still a mystery.
The others seek our end.
All right, we kind of knew that this was going to be coming. I just wish it came later. Ah, Fear, you're still here. Maybe our fleet can incentivize you to die. Oh, apparently I can't set the Oracle. Fair enough. Okay, best I can really do here is just try and meet them. But this is gonna suck. Hey, Colfax, we're playing a hive mind, a devouring swarm, and they have a lot more ships than I do. So this is going to be character building. I suppose one thing I could try and do is like empty the treasury and buy some more alloys.
Technology conceived. We have surveyed the system.
Okay, basic combat rolls. Oh, great. So some more, actually, you know what? Active matrices tuned for specific combat-centric tasks greatly improve management efficiency. Okay, let's do improved deflectors. Again, we're going for some cheap... The one bonus is that we do have the Hateful Cunning Krill was unable to build a starbase. The resources have been refunded. I believe they couldn't build that starbase because I don't have the alloys for it. I don't want to fully stop my expansion, so I am going to...
Technology conceived.
Our initial scans have caught an irregular signal reminiscent of our own distress patterns. So yeah, for now I think we're just gonna park it and see how how best we can weather the storm. As space traffic increases, larger and more defensible starbases are needed to maintain control over system space lanes. So I was kind of hoping that this would be ready before they fought us. Now, I'm trying to debate between long-range mineral scanners and destroyers. I kind of think the time has passed for... Nope, we're gonna switch out. Oh, he's currently investigating, so that won't work. All right, I'll try and remember to handle that. There's a side of me that just kind of wants to turn it around and say, okay, we'll go upgrade. If they're not coming after me, then...
We have found an anomaly.
Initial analysis of the asteroid's composition points towards potentially increasing finds. Lost in space, the signal we intercepted was a distress call from a ship in orbit around Velonis 4. The ship is not giving off any heat signatures and seems to be drifting. A special project has been issued to investigate what happened to the crew. Oh, I know what can happen on this one.
Our situation log is updated.
I kind of feel like if you're the aggressor, the war exhaustion shouldn't move up at the same rate. I feel like the aggressor should probably... Oh, actually, it looks like they do have a higher rate. The crew of the ship has been found dead. What is more disturbing is that they appear to have been killed by some highly advanced brain parasites, which infected them and drove them mad. Thanks to Science Officer Slug Winward's findings, we were able to protect our own crew from being infected. So, you can kind of guess how that one might go wrong. Okay, let's get the... Let's rearrange our scientists. So right now I just want to get to my cap, and then after that we'll take care of the building up the infrastructure. All right, encounter at Impultov. We have made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Impultov system. We should find out more about them so that we may decide whether they would be suitable nutrition for our drones. For now, they have been simply been given the designation the Kappa aliens. Fragments of life. It appears that the asteroid 2345498 and the surrounding debris originate from a former planet. Deep within the center of the asteroid, we can find traces of extremely valuable alloys. There are also hints of bacterial life that has now died in the vacuum of space. This shows us that the celestial body once bore the promise of life. Oh, this is crummy of me.
Our construction is complete.
What have we got here? 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 4 more ships, and then we can start thinking about updating our bases. I might even consider putting a temporary a temporary shipyard.
We have found an anomaly.
Ship sensors are picking up an unexplained pattern of interference in the Impel-Tov system. As always, we research. So this is just another, not curator, but another enclave. Well, I mean, they don't have to surrender for it to be a status quo. Like finish. But obviously, now that they've started the war, if I feel like I'm in a position to be able to put like a heavy hit on their own territory, I'm gonna take it. The big catch here is that having been given a snapshot of their navy and knowing that I have a number of benefits to so the benefits that I have in my home territory are significantly more than what I'm going to be facing against their fleets. There's actually very few reasons for me to go on the offensive. What I may wind up doing is I might start sort of switching my navy out. It's like basically, I think I'm looking at about 2,000 strength that I'm up against. So once I can get, all of my ships in order, I have about that in my navy. So add that to my, add my base to that, and I'm looking okay. Like I'm looking like I can hold my own. But if I then try to go on the offensive, particularly if they back up the the base, if they move their 2,000 strength into the system, all of a sudden I have to deal with this high military power, and of course they've got a fresh unit just coming in. So one way I might be able to manipulate that is to go and try and take the Sith system. So what that does, I mean, again, it looks like everybody's got a pretty good defense. But what that allows me to do is they have to waste some time going through the system. I'd actually be able to see it come towards me. I'm not entirely sure that would really give me enough warning. We'd still be in the middle of the fight. Then they might actually just barrel through and take the menship system. But yeah, like that's kind of what I'm contending with right now. Hello, Night Valiant. How you doing? For those of you who do not know, this is a Brazilian streamer who is playing, I like to think is sort of the grand advertisement for the Game Pass, although Deathloop is not available on the Game Pass to my chagrin. And he's been doing a very admirable job. I'm assuming it's because it's like a PlayStation timed exclusive. But excuse me. Night Valiant is a soft voice streamer who streams a little bit later than me, so for those of you who tend to like me for those qualities, I don't know if I count as soft voiced, but those of you who enjoy some of those qualities of my own streams will very likely like what Night Valiant's been up to. And despite my yawn, I actually have been getting some sleep. Oddly enough, my if anything, my sleep patterns have gone in the opposite direction, in that the last couple of days I've actually woken up absurdly early, and it's resulted in me like going to bed at a much earlier time, which is not the worst thing in the world, but it has kind of thrown me for a loop. I've actually not gotten some stuff done because I was assuming I would have more hours in the day than I actually did. That was just mostly because I sort of wasted those early morning hours. I'm like, oh, hey, I got some extra stuff. Maybe I'll watch a little TV. That's not the right choice. If you wake up early, it should be like get up and go around to make something of the day. Anyways, Zonified Science. The hateful Hydrozoan crew has succeeded in isolating the signal embedded within the unusual pattern of interference in the Impel-Tov system. The signal is a song, a complex sonification of an advanced mathematical equation to be precise, and one that science officer Sothoth Brigsloop cannot seem to get out of their head. Who or what may have composed this song remains unknown, though its complexity infers an incredible level of technological sophistication regarding subspace harmonics. The signal's geodesics suggest a point of origin from outside our galaxy. Nothing worse than going to bed before 6 a.m. You know, one of the really funny things is I was actually someone who kind of wanted to work graveyards when I was working in places where that was even potentially an option. I actually often found I couldn't. Like, I was simply not allowed to, which is weird. I never would have thought that that would have been something that was hard to get people, to do. All right. This will be handled. Phobos needs more workers. And honestly, I kind of want to, like, every single one of these things is desirable. But I think food, well, no, you know what? I've got plenty of food. I actually also don't have the mineral resources for it, so I'll probably do a generator district. I want to do an industrial district, but I feel like the generator district will be the one that I... Hey, Wolfenstein, how you doing? Thank you. Hey, we got an asset. Spymaster Grog Beamsend reports that from the Amaranthi Trading Coalition, a successful execution so far. We have won the loyalty of an Aramathian rebel whose desire for disruptive change may easily be molded to suit our goals as well. So that was more of a long-term acquisition. I was definitely planning on trying to get that number as close to 100 as I could. But yeah. Anyways, Kappa aliens. We have picked up readings of an unknown nature. The signals seem to allow for some kind of repeating syntax, which could indicate a sapient origin. It should be investigated further. They seem to be concentrated around a single space station, though it is unclear whether this forms part of a larger spacefaring civilization. We kind of already know it's not, but we'll pretend that there's a mystery here. And we'll just wait for the next month. Well, the worst one I ever ran into was when I was working in film. So generally, the way that it works is that you will start shooting at kind of the crack of dawn on Monday, and particularly it'll all be on the sound stages. Because like if it's sound stages, you completely control the environment, so it's going to be lit the way that you want. Everything's already going to be set up. I worked on a lot of sort of science fiction television anyway, so most of the time it's going to be on sound stages, because the last I checked, shooting on location in space is something that only Tom Cruise can do. But the other reason why you will start super early on Monday is because things run behind.
We have surveyed the system.
And over time, basically what happens is you have to push the call later and later. So like basically you have the Union will require certain periods of time between like finishing work and going into work the next day, and there is a fairly stiff penalty for failing to meet that. Now, generally what happens is productions will just pay that because the talent is usually quite a bit more expensive than me. But yeah, generally what happens is that in order to avoid some severe penalties for not having you, or like not giving you enough time to sort of sleep between the end of the day and the start of the next one, the call will get pushed to later in the day. And then that usually means the assistant directors have to go and like print new call sheets and so on and so forth. But basically, what happens is over the course of the week, as these pushes happen, the plan is that you will sort of do all your evening scene. Well, you'll do more outdoor scenes, later on in the week, because again, like that'll be when you're, I suppose, when you're like that's when you can get the daylight. And then usually what would happen would be the night shooting. And of course, this is on location night, because if it's a sound stage, again, you totally control the environment. But your location night shooting will happen on the Friday. Why? Well, because that allows you to keep pushing the calls. And so it was not uncommon for me, especially like in the summer or something like that, I'd be starting at like 6 or 7, and that's when I'm having breakfast. And we'd basically be running until dawn on the Saturday. And then, of course, because of the way the schedule works, you've got Monday where you're starting at the crack of dawn. So essentially, like, it was Fraturdays. So, you desperately try and get enough sleep to keep you going. You'd make the most of your Saturday, and then you try and get to bed, early on Sunday so that you can actually wake up on time for the call. By the way, this was also the time period in my life where, like, I am really bad at getting out of bed. So I kid you not, this is the worst possible thing I could do to myself, but I did not care I did apparently not care anything about my body. The way that I would handle it would be, there'd be like my alarm. Okay, so the way I set it up was I had my alarm clock, which is reasonably close to my bed, and I was usually good at sort of rolling over and just like turning it off or hitting snooze in my sleep. So I also had a second alarm on the other side of the room. I actually got an angry note from a neighbor saying that it woke them up, so I eventually stopped that one. I didn't realize the walls were that thin, but obviously I'm not a dick, so I'm not gonna just say, "Ooh, it's my apartment." Deal with it. But the way I would sort of make it work was that just outside of arm's reach, because like at that time I was sleeping on a futon, so just outside of reach, of like arm's reach, there would be a can of Red Bull that I would leave on the ground. And so basically I would have to actually roll out of bed to get the energy drink. And that would be how I ensured that I was up and like in the car, ready to go to set. Anyways, lots of comments on me coming live from Alpha Centauri. I actually have been, I really got to stream that again. You need 3 different alarm setups to get up in time, 2 different rooms. Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I'm a little bit better now in terms of being able to get up, but I still actually, any alarms that I have, I make sure that they are like physically distant. So I actually have to move to turn them off, because I'm so bad at doing stuff in my sleep. I've actually called 911 in my sleep, not because I needed it, obviously. I felt really bad about that. But anyways, incoming transmission. Interloper, heed this message. We are the guardians of Xanam. Your presence in the Ulysses system is an affront to our creators. Our programming compels us to destroy you. Make your peace with the universe. Go to red alert.
We flee the hostile storm.
My God. Skyworld, though. It's a nice little prize if I can take it. Okay, you know what? Against my better judgment, I'm gonna... Actually, there's a couple things I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna take this fleet. Oh, it doesn't say which ones need updates. No! Okay, so the Typhoon is going to go back to Aretha for its upgrades. Then these 5 are going to join. Oh, that's really interesting. You wake up a few minutes before your alarm. All right, now I thought that we had already researched this anomaly, but clearly I wasn't paying attention, so just as well they sent us packing. Man, the alerts are going crazy tonight. We don't need that many more ships
We
to...
have found an anomaly.
Actually, I guess I should probably be worrying about the naval cap more than anything. The cap for the individual ships isn't so important. There's a significant amount of debris in orbit around this gas giant. Most of it appears to come from long-lost starships of various configurations. So yeah, they declared war, but they didn't actually... they didn't do anything about it. I'm kind of disappointed. Glumviv 04. In your head watching this on YouTube, there was like 100 million people watching. One day, Glum, again, actually, so, again, this sort of depends on whether or not you've seen me do these YouTube streams. One of the reasons I like doing them is I feel much more comfortable with large audiences than small ones, which, again, is very cute coming from a small Twitch streamer. But, like, again, whether I'm giving a presentation or, or anything along those lines, like, it is actually where I tend to feel most comfortable. Of course, the drawback is that you do kind of require the audience to be equally interested in what you're saying, and so that's why maybe I don't have more audiences than I would like. But yeah, that is a nice bonus about the Twitch or the Steam things. Is that generally on Steam, I think it's just because I have the marketing efforts of the game developers sort of backing me, so it tends to be a nice little. It tends to be a nice little synergy that they're bringing people in, and enough of those people are kind of interested in what they're seeing that they stick around. I do need to sneeze, so I'm going to try and get that out before... There we go, before I read the text. The strong gravity well on Cotter 3 has pulled in a massive amount of space debris, which has formed a dense layer around parts of the gas giant. Most of it appears to be wreckage from a series of space battles fought in the system several millennia ago. Scavengers have already scoured the debris of valuable technologies and artifacts, but a mining station should be able to recycle the metal. Again, excuse me. Magnetic reversal. The magnetic field of Impaltov 3 experienced a complete reversal while it was being observed by the hateful Hydrozoan. This rare event has interchanged the positions of the planet's magnetic poles. Fortunately, it was all recorded by the sensors of our ship, providing our scientists with a lot of valuable data. While I'm at it, I should just take a second here. So, definitely the Maniac's going to stay in the lab. We kind of need the brig sloop back in the lab as soon as we can.
Technology conceived.
Ah. And Vlur, an extremely powerful subspace entity of some kind, has been encountered in the Hark system. It does not appear hostile and may not even be fully aware of conventional spacecraft, but its mere presence in Hark is causing massive subspace disturbances in the entire system. These disturbances are localized around the entity itself and should disappear when it leaves the system. While it does not acknowledge hails, the entity is continuously emitting a complex pattern of tachyon pulses, which appears to be a form of language. If our translation software is correct, it is saying over and over, Vlur seeks, Vlur finds. This will interfere with ship systems. Okay, well, I think it would not be unwelcome. So actually all of these are really helpful, and normally I would go for the improved booster reactor, but in this case gravitic sensors, because we really do need to get better views on our enemy's territory. Okay, hopefully Vlur does not kill us.
Our construction is complete.
After successfully translating their language, we have established communication with the independent space station of the Artisan Troop. Pray.
The elders reach out to make contact with our line.
A visitor! This is a joyous occasion indeed. Oh, forgive my manners. I believe introductions are in order. We are the Artisan Troop. Our members have dedicated their lives to the pursuit of art, music, culture, and all the other things which makes existence bearable to a sapient being. Please, if you would like to share in the wonder of our creations, do not hesitate to contact us. Pray. Very well. It was actually a lot easier than I thought, which makes me wonder. So they did talk, in sort of like the screening interview, they did talk about how the position title had changed. Based on, excuse me, the test, I'm going to guess the position changed because it was a very, very easy test for me. But I mean, okay, not to sound completely full of myself, right? But yeah, I definitely did not find that a challenge, which obviously I think is a good thing. But I think with the change of the I think with the change of the name and based on the test that I saw, I suspect that the position might be a little more junior than I thought. That doesn't immediately exclude it from consideration. But suffice to say, I either severely overestimate what the needs of publishers are in terms of quantitative skills, or I am ultimately shooting too low with this application, which again is fine because I don't necessarily think it would hurt to sort of get a grounding in a particular subject before moving on to more I don't know, like thornier issues, but yeah, I was a little surprised by how straightforward it was. Like there was even one where I was asked a question on something that I'm not familiar with, and I've been upfront about not being familiar with it on the application. So they had listed it as a nice to have, but I was tested on it, and like the problem, I've not been asked not to talk about the test, but I'm going to assume that they would prefer it if some of the things were like a surprise. So I'm keeping it very general in this case here. But like, it felt to me like the real solution to the problem wasn't really something tied to knowing the technology that that it was ostensibly about. It was basically just realizing that one of the things that the program was calling was a string of the variable that you needed, not the variable you needed. So I suppose if you're unfamiliar with a module, right, that you're probably not going to be able to realize that something has been listed as a as a string instead of a variable. So like, I mean, X is the worst variable name in the world, and if you use it, shame on you. But like, if you don't know that this thing that you're passing as an argument to this function that's defined shouldn't be a string, or that it's supposed to be a certain data type because that's what that function works on, then yeah, you're probably going to be stumped by it. But in this case here, like, I don't know, I know strings reasonably well. I know you're not supposed to be able to perform a lot of operations that aren't sort of stringy operations on them. So it was pretty easy to just reverse engineer it. I don't know though, right? Like they'll let me know how I did. So some kind of unknown structures are floating in this gas giant's upper atmosphere. They appear to be using aerostatic lift to remain buoyant. Aerostat colonies. A ruined network of aerostat colonies dating back to at least 3 millennia can be found in the low orbit of this gas giant. Their original function appears to have been gas mining, but they have since been abandoned and reoccupied by many different races and pirate groups. The colonies have been thoroughly stripped of anything even remotely valuable, but the mere fact that they are still aloft after all this time makes them an interesting subject of engineering research. I have so much stuff I want to build, it's ridiculous. I think it's possible that I started using Diam as an agricultural district, not only because it was the first one that I colonized, but also because my other candidate for an agricultural planet is also very good as a generator.
Technology conceived.
Okay, Interstellar Fleet Traditions. We've got Battle Simulators and Naval Logistics Office. Naval Logistics Office is very welcome. Body of knowledge regarding combat behaviors is useless without a strong code governing its use. Let's do... Let's clear out the tile blockers. Okay, so I'm gonna upgrade this again. Hopefully this won't take too long. Oh, and apparently we can have 24... No, that doesn't make sense. I'm kind of glad the... I'm kind of glad that my opponents are being such cowards.
With have surveyed the system.
So right now I just want to keep ahead of unemployment. I am a little worried about how poorly I'm doing with alloys, and I think I'm letting my research fall behind as well. But I kind of need to think this all through. All right, so let's take a look at the new tradition updates. So we've got adaptability. Okay, so first of all, let's see what the new ones are. So I feel like adaptability is probably new. Subterfuge is definitely new. So I'm thinking it's probably subterfuge, synchronicity, and adaptability. Now the real question, I mean, I gotta pick one of these, right? So, okay, housing changes, and it grants planetary prospecting, which allows us to prospect for an additional resource deposit. Okay, diplomacy is diplomacy. Why would you pick this if you're a hive mind? I guess in the old one... Oh, actually, you know what they might have done? So I know, like, when you picked certain... when you picked certain species, or, like, certain traits that were incompatible with the traditions you do, they'd flip them out. So maybe what they're... Oh my god, there's another. It's like maybe what they've done here is they've moved some of those things that would have gone into the transformations. Okay. Monthly food output, habitability, orbital bombardment, one free building slot, resettlement con. Okay, not great. I don't think there's anything that diplomacy will do for me here. Discovery, so anomaly research speed is faster, better research speed, survey speed increase. Hey, Rouge Light Girl, how you doing? The research subsidies edict, which I can mess around with again. We're laughing as far as influence is concerned. Leader experience gain and researcher upkeep. So the funny thing here is that we actually don't really need this right now because we don't have that many researchers. So normally I go on an early discovery, but right now it's not necessarily so important for me. And it looks like you don't get the bonus for researching stuff anymore. Maybe that's been the case for a while. So domination's an interesting one here because it's debatable as to whether or not domination's really appropriate for this this kind of devouring swarm either, because normally this is about having vassals. Clear blocker cost is obviously kind of nice, and a bonus to administrative capacity. But let's see here. So governors, yes. Synaptic nodes also increase housing. That's fine. Synaptic network, good. Deviancy is reduced by 10 on all of our planets. I didn't realize there was a deviancy thing. And drone overdrive. Okay, so domination does have its uses for the... for hive mind. Prosperity, mining station outputs go up, building upkeeps change, complex drone output improves, build costs decrease and speed. Okay, prosperity is definitely very tempting. Code breaking, encryption. Whenever a hostile operation target us fails, we gain 10 intel. Wow. This is definitely one I would have liked to put on the Black Codex. Supremacy, there's only one rule, eat or be eaten. Huge boost to naval capacity, extra army damage, ship build costs, ship upkeep, ship fire. I mean, this is tempting. Food upkeep, leader lifespan. This feels like the old Harmony. Oh, interesting. How much you want to bet that Harmony's wound up in here twice? Well, if that's true, then why isn't expansion in here twice? I think they took away all the useful ones for me. Okay, then unyielding, starbase capacity ups, upgrade speed plus 50%. Stronghold buildings now produce 3 unity. Okay, that makes... I actually have a feeling I'll use unyielding a lot then. Starbases have their hull points and damage increased by 33. Man. When in a defensive war with another empire, ship build speed is increased by 33%. That used to be one of the ones in here. I think that's what I was originally counting for. Okay, so it's probably between prosperity, supremacy, and unyielding for me right now. Supremacy will become useful in... realistically, 2. Prosperity gives me an immediate boost. Yeah, long run this actually helps me overall. The upgrade speed, though, is really, really, really tempting here. I'm going to do prosperity. We'll crush them under the weight of our wealth.
Our swarm is strengthened. We have found an anomaly.
The planetary body Hark 6 appears to be covered in some manner of grayish substance, possessing strange properties and varying metallic composition. Obviously, I'm hoping that they don't attack while we're switching out the ships. Might as well have a second admiral. After detailed analysis, Officer Sosoth Brigsloop has discovered that the strange metallic substance coating the surface of Hark 6 is in fact comprises of billions upon billions of nanites. These nanites are microscopic, self-replicating micromachines, perhaps created by a past civilization for some unknown purpose. The volume and density of this nanite sludge is remarkable, adding billions of tons of mass to the underlying planet. It would appear that these tiny self-replicators entered a state of runaway reproduction at some point in the past, engulfing the planet and everything on it. In studying the nanites, the crew has made some exciting new findings that will undoubtedly aid us in our own research.
Technology conceived.
Okay, so factory build speed plus 25%. Oh, sorry, planetary build speed. Rapid iteration in construction simulations determines the optimal component assembly patterns for each building project ahead of time. Now, what I wanted to actually do here was... Right, so we're still all lined up with the right text. Don't think there's anything otherwise left. Oh, okay. So they are looking to start some trouble. Olaf, thank you very much for the host. Hope you're doing well. I think we're just going to skip the idea of upgrading and send everybody straight to the battlefield. We'll probably arrive late, but... And apparently I cannot count on the bonus I thought I had, which is a little... I think that's a little mean of the game. My god, man. 15 months. After what you have been going through, I feel like you should be taking all of your money and just completely spoiling yourself. But thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. I was delighted to catch you on Ari's stream, but I was actually just talking with everyone. This answers my how I'm doing. I am in the weird place where I used to have a lot of trouble sleeping. And what's happened now is I've wound up kind of going the other way around, which is I've wound up waking up ridiculously early lately, and this has sort of translated into me needing to go to sleep a little earlier lately. So basically, like, I started watching Ariella's stream. For those of you who don't know him, Olaf is a mod for a streamer who I knew back in Vancouver, Miss Ariella. This is going to be a brutal fight. I'm hoping our presence will discourage them. Nope, it's not. It is not. If anything, it's made them more angry. I always thought there was some other fleet stance that you could do to, like, really punch things up. But yeah, so I got a chance to watch. Miss Ariella has been going through the Borderlands series for the first time, which I know Olaf is a big fan of, and he's had this wonderful opportunity to be able to sort of show it off to her, and so I was really looking forward to. Sort of seeing those opening moments in Borderlands 2, because I've never actually finished Borderlands 2, and so it's also been a really long time since I played the starting bits. But I pretty much, like, started watching, and then I just sort of, like, you know, I kind of sat down with a book, and I was like, oh, actually I'm feeling kind of tired. I was like, you know, I'll just lie down for a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like 6 o'clock in the morning the next day, and there's like I'm 6 hosts deep, you know, on the raids that happened afterwards, and I'm like, well, I feel like a bit of a jerk, but I guess I needed the sleep. Oh boy. Let's watch the fireworks.
Our hive is under attack.
Where's the typhoon? No, it's here. Oh, good. So we got there before them. So we're going to be able to blunt their sort of their first wave. And then presumably they have reinforcements. Oh, nope. Looks like they lost their nerve. Okay, how did it go? That counts as indecisive just because it vanished. So we lost 1 Corvette and we took 4 off them. And as you can see, they are reconsidering this whole war thing. Now, obviously what I would like to do is turn around and be like, lol, you're, you know, all of your starts with a B. Starships are belong to me. But yeah, no, I'd love to just be able to translate that into just this massive land grab. That is not the way this happens. I will build a replacement Corvette for sure. And obviously we need to get the crashing wave back, but
We have surveyed the system.
the material composition of this asteroid differs significantly from its neighbors. It likely has a different origin than the other bodies of this asteroid belt and should be investigated more closely. Spent a while doing that, falling asleep at weird times and waking up at 4 a.m. These days you got ADHD meds and sleeping pills, and that kept sleep a little more predictable. I'm sorry you needed the pills for that, but I'm glad you got the help, because I don't know, I hate not have, like, this is the big thing, is like I know I can get through a tough sleep schedule. I can handle it, but that doesn't mean it's something I actually want to do. It is actually extremely unpleasant. so I'm going to change my plan a little bit. So we're going to run through these. Also, I'm just really bad at, like, so I don't really take very good care of myself. I take better care of myself than I did in the film days, but like, overall, I'm not like a super healthy guy. But I do kind of read up. So like I definitely really like whiskey, but the one problem is like every time I keep reading about alcohol, I'm more and more convinced that it's really just like smoking, except that it's got better PR. Like there's never been anything I've read where it's like, oh yeah, this is totally fine for you. And then the sleep stuff always just freaks me out. Because like I've seen it all, and I'm like, there is no excuse for me doing anything less than getting the amount of sleep that I need, but I'm always so bad at it, so I don't know though. I'm eating more fish now, if that counts. The Hateful Hydrozoan crew report that that what first appeared to our scanners as an asteroid is in fact a gigantic floating ball of junk, comprised of the broken remains of various vehicles, rockets, and hazardous materials, many of them radioactive. The junk ball seems to be the detritus of an unknown alien nation in the early space age. It would appear that this nation was an interstellar litterer, ejecting dangerous industrial waste into orbit rather than disposing of it planetside. Radiometric dating suggests that these remains are millions of years old, and they have been floating through space from an unknown point of origin for most of that time. Science Officer Soshoth Bigsloop notes that some of the materials found in this floating junk heap are quite rare and could be refined into useful resources. Okay, so they haven't gotten their nerve with my fleet sort of moving out. That's good. Okay, can I reinstate the learning campaign? 500 food, I think we can. I also think we can buy some more alloys. So we're at our fleet cap. Clearly the next step now is to upgrade the station. Ooh. Clearly the next step now is to disrupt the shields. Okay. This is a little different from what I was planning, but let's not stop our progress. Let's get the Gigawawa system. Sorry, the Gegawa system. Cosmic Diamond. While on the surface, Hark appears to be an ordinary white dwarf, the star hides an intriguing secret. By studying Hark's pulsations, the hateful Hydrozoan crew have discovered its composition to be almost entirely crystallized carbon. This astronomical crystal lattice seems to have formed as the star cooled, originating in its gas-fusing core and growing outward over time. Hark is a diamond of cosmological proportions, glinting behind a white veil of oxygen and helium. We're okay food-wise for now. I guess we can start building some... Should take a second and actually think a little bit about what I'm going to be focusing on. I guess it doesn't hurt to build some strongholds. Got more than what we need on Wasset right now. Encounter at Mothelium. Mothelum. We made first contact with mysterious aliens in Mothelum, in the Mothelum system. We should find out more about them so that we may decide whether they would be suitable nutrition for our drones. For now, they have been given the designation Kai aliens. We should probably be doing some more dirty tricks. I'm happy to have sabotage, but our cap is 55, so we're actually kind of getting close to the limits as well. So I think I'm going to acquire another asset before I... Obviously, I'd love to be able to, like, you know, drop a bomb on the Pharathon system, and then we basically wind up taking something off of them for free. But I just practically don't see that actually happening. Certainly are taking our time on the upgrades.
Our construction is complete.
So we're a little stronger for the next wave if they decide to attack us. I don't really know what they're packing here.
We flee the hostile swarm.
Oh, I did have enough for all of it. Okay, what's the deal here? Omicron aliens, okay. Long-range scanners have picked up readings in the Mothelum system that could at best be described as giant heat blobs. It's worth investigating.
Technology conceived.
Okay, destroyers. We're getting them a little late, but they'll still be helpful. While larger than a corvette, destroyer hull configurations can still make for comparatively nimble gunboats. And looks like we can get fusion missiles now, so as much as I'd like to do the super solid metals, let's keep researching. So we'll just switch around our science ships. This unit is a little bit better at that work. So where I can, I'm gonna try and build some destroyers, but it's sort of an uphill battle. We need 182, and obviously I keep gobbling up my alloys for other things. Really not generating that many, so I do over time want to try and improve that.
Technology conceived.
All right, lots of things going on. We have made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Aramis system. We should find out more about them so that we may decide whether or not they would be suitable nutrition for our drones. For now, they have been given the designation the Rho aliens. And this is probably due to my gravitic sensors. Maybe not. These sensors have been tuned to look for any gravitational changes in space, such as those produced by the presence of a starship. Okay, and we could get better research or auxiliary fire control. I think in this case I'm going to do the better research. I've been sort of lagging on that, and that kind of... I think, honestly, that tech is going to be what saves me in the end. Okay, so... I guess I can put it to you this way. I was considering the possibility when the difference in the war kind of... You know, when it got big enough, like, would I just try a Hail Mary on one of these systems to try and take it? And that sort of we can now see what the folly of that move would have been if we had moved into the Phaethon system. So in addition to the fact that they have got about 1,650 in fleets just waiting to pounce in the Suth system, they also... Oh, actually, these are the fleets that I actually kind of clobbered, so not so bad after all. Actually, even that space station's pretty weak. Oh man, I really didn't need to know this. Because now what I'm going to want to do is build a whole bunch of destroyers and just go to town and take their capital.
swarm is strengthened.
I realize why I have the maintenance, or why I had the amenities problems. Oh, we should probably get that. Well, I mean, at this point, we might as well upgrade them. Our deep cover operatives have stepped up their surveillance on potential targets. So it turns out my food security was a little bit of an illusion. Confidence wavers. A group of auxiliary operatives in the Armathi Trading Coalition has begun lagging in their assigned tasks, displaying behavior which could be interpreted as doubt. We would typically handle such matters directly through Spymaster Grog Beamsend, but this group acts as though it can perceive the wider machinations of the Operation Acquire Asset, and perhaps the spy network as a whole. Given that these auxiliaries are kept isolated from our more active agents, we suspect that they are being fed information from an outside source. It is, however, also possible that their proximity to independent agents may simply have endowed these operatives with a kind of insight that we may one day find useful. Given these doubts and the threats posed to Operation Acquire Asset by each scenario, Spymaster Grog Beamsend requests a directive on how to proceed. So we don't have enough energy credits to cut them loose. Let's see where these insights lead. Panicked operatives. Our auxiliary operatives in the Armathi Trading Coalition have reacted with horror upon learning the truth of their once intangible suspicions. Spymaster Grog Beamsend revealed only a glimpse of the bigger picture to them, but it was sufficient to disrupt our supply lines. Our ability to subvert Armathian encryption is reduced for a time. The spaceborne life forms we call the Tianki are docile creatures, capable of accessing the same lower dimension of subspace. They roam from system to system with remarkable ease. They graze on the gases common to the upper layers of many gas giants. It is highly unlikely, to say the least, that this is their only food source, but intake of other nutrients has yet to be observed. They will not attack unless provoked, and they can safely be ignored. Hunting them would pose a net loss anyway.
The others reach out to make contact with our mind.
Okay, so we have another first contact to deal with. I was gonna say, this is the weirdest division between like lots of activity happening in the game, but a relatively passive session. So like obviously we're just kind of sitting pretty, waiting for the AI to attack us, or for us to get strong enough to attack the AI, which is the right call. And we've been seeing lots of different species, but this is just because we've been expanding our ability to look into the galaxy. So, an unusually deliberate geometric configuration of minerals drifts through the debris belt by QH59C and is possibly of alien origin. So I'm curious what happens if I look like I'm moving away. Hasn't provoked action yet. Encounter in Yamal. We have made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Yamal system. We should find out more about them so that we may decide whether they would be suitable nutrition for our drones. For now, they are simply given the designation Upsilon aliens. So this might be another empire. That's definitely another empire. So I'd love to send my fleet to go punch them, but oh, yep, they're making their move. I should have been paying attention. Oh, they thought the better of it. Okay, fair enough. Careless plying. According to a report from the crew of the hateful bow chaser, their mission was a failure. Science officer Yathag Unrove allegedly took manual control of the probe and sent it to retrieve a sample from the cluster, resulting in a collision between the drone and the mineral cluster that, while mild, resulted in the mineral cluster breaking apart completely. The crew is careful to note that the experience has left Science officer Yathag Unrove somewhat shaken, and the mineral shards could still be of some value, so we can get a ton of minerals, which actually normally isn't that big of a boost, but in this case will actually help me with my infrastructure. Or the fear finds such carelessness unacceptable. Yeah, we'll grab them. So how do I want to invest these? Figure that'll cover me for jobs for a while. I'm just redirecting it because obviously for 100 minerals, getting 3 energy is better than getting 2. Same cost, better yield. And I've been sitting on the opportunity to get a destroyer online, so I don't know if destroyers are going to make the difference in terms of being able to take out the station, but we should give it a shot. If nothing else, if we can show that we can sort of muscle our way in and keep the traders on their toes, we may be able to extract a couple of concessions out of this war. There is also a bit of a priority for me to try and sew up the rest of this territory. Multiphasic force fields. We are losing contact with our operative drones as they enter steadily more secure areas in the Armathi Trading Coalition. There is a chance that we could lose our presence there altogether. These interruptions are likely caused by sloppy Aramathian shielding technology putting out noisy interference. We shall try to adapt. We may succeed or suffer operational setbacks depending somewhat on our relative technology level. It's about equal, so... Oh, and we are at the limits of our Empire Sprawl, so I need to start building some more of those. Oh, you know what? How much you want to bet? Oh, no. No, we are well and truly... at our limits. Jesus, look at the size of that. The vessels detected in the Aramis system seem to be part of some expedition across the galaxy, with purposes unknown. They have not made any hostile moves, nor is there any heavy weaponry in evidence. Instead, they seem to be broadcasting repetitive but not particularly content-filled signals in our general direction. Sounds kind of like the election. Our diplomatic drone, K-League Starsail, is confused but hopes that the broadcasts will help our language drones translate their language. The actions of those outside the hive are indeed strange.
Our swarm is strengthened.
Scanning the star unveils a small object in rapid orbit. Its small size and high velocity make it difficult for our sensors to isolate.
We have found an anomaly.
Large amount of ship debris can be found in orbit around this moon, possibly the remnants of some kind of massive fleet action. So we're certainly building the capacity. The probability conundrum. We have gotten a report from Science Officer Yatheg Unrove. It seems a ceramic container is circling the the star Tropilium. Most peculiar. It should obviously not be there, yet somehow it has managed to find its way into a close orbit. A special project can be issued to investigate the container and try to deduce how it ended up there. A conundrum worth investigating, or all questions don't have worthwhile answers. Well, clearly we don't need the
Our
extra
situation
influence.
log is updated.
So let us study what I'm assuming is Russell's teapot. Oh wait, we need to get our sprawl in order before I move out again. Signs of battle. There is clear evidence that a massive space battle took place in close orbit on Trond 2b at some point in the last 5,000 years. The surface on one side of the moon is pockmarked with craters from stray weapons blasts, and scans from the hateful Hydrozoan have picked up several hulks on the ground. Though these wrecked ships are all in very poor condition, the fact that anything remains at all after the damage that they must have sustained is a testament to their advanced design. Science Officer Serg Windward is preparing an expedition to sift through these derelict hulks for any valuable technologies.
Our situation log is updated.
Again, we do the control
Our
shifts.
construction is complete.
So yeah, we're just gonna float in space for a little while. Diab's also gonna get one of those. I think we're making enough money that I can start clearing out some blockers. Obviously buying alloys would also be kind of nice, but that's just going to keep driving the price up too, so. Through hard work and experience, Governor Welk Bowsprit has developed new skills. We'll try and be patient with it. We'll slowly build up our destroyers. We may have an advantage in capacity against our opponent now. The Caravanneers. We have managed to decipher the confusing, repetitive messages of the Roe aliens were sending us. And it turns out that they were commercial advertisements. Apparently, they call themselves the Vengratian Tirum, and are part of a group of spacefaring traders that make a living by offering the best deals, or what they claim to be the best deals, to whichever civilization they happen to be visiting at the time. True to form, it appears that they are attempting to contact us. On screen. Greetings from the Vengratian Tirum, or Trium, certified caravanneer traders of the Caravanserai Caravan Coalition. We teach Xenos how to earn a substantial amount of income working from home, but you seem to be doing well for yourself already. Whenever we enter your territory, we will offer you an exclusive deal. Unfortunately, our ships are all outside your territory for the moment, but we look forward to doing business with you in the future. In the meantime, do not hesitate to contact us, but be aware that the incoming calls will be rerouted to Caravanserai Caravan Coalition. Die. And the Numistic Order. Ah, the fear. Finally, the winds of fortune have brought us to your bountiful lands. We are the Mystic Order, faithful servants of the goddess Numa. We have come to offer you her blessed wares. Our fleets travel divine currents of cosmic energy, wherever the winds of fortune take us, bringing new deals every time we enter your lands. Sadly, our ships are beyond the bounds of your realm at the moment. But next we visit your skies, the wonders of the universe could be yours for a modest donation of credits. Die. We had another... There we go. Okay, so we went for prosperity. Buildings and districts have their build cost reduced and build speed improved, or building upkeep goes down. This will help my outputs. This will help my housing. Let's do the left branch first. Chitinous architecture, construction, resin... Oh, sorry, I should also read prosperity. So we must build a strong, prosperous hive if we are to spread ourselves among the stars. So construction resin extracted from captured biomass is in ocean-sized rendering pools. Is more malleable and durable than most inorganic materials. It can even withstand the chill vacuum of space.
Our special project is complete.
A team under Science Officer Serg Windward has finished their expedition on Tron 2B and returned to the hateful Hydrozoan. Sadly, the wrecked starships on the surface were too badly damaged to recover any useful technologies. These vessels were clearly very advanced, however, and we could gain valuable engineering insights if we analyzed the way that they were designed. We should consider the construction of a permanent science outpost in orbit. So all I really need is one weak neighbor. Just waiting for that magic moment.
Technology conceived.
Okay, a lot of critical research can be done in zero-gravity environment, which these specialized laboratories are eminently designed for. Okay, let's do... I mean, this is already halfway, but 325 months is still a long time to wait. And we are seeing the higher cost due to the Empire sprawl. FTL inhibitors are actually not a bad idea right now, but I think I'm actually going to go without. I am going to go for the reactor booster for the simple reason that the problem I'm going to run into is not them slipping past my defenses. The problem I'm going to run into is them just simply being able to beat us on the battlefield. So I think we've got synaptic nodes on every planet. Or are approaching it, at least. The good news here, when you take a look at this, right, so the Typhoon is getting to a point with one additional destroyer. It's actually at a point where it can sort of start taking on these two ships on their own, which means that the White Crush now starts moving after the base. So again, I don't like fair fights, so we're not going for that, but it does sort of show that we're on a path to getting to a point where we start feeling like we can brush aside the enemy targets. So a short list of targets has been drawn up. Those operatives who are no longer tasked with surveillance will provide cover for the others. And again, time is on our side. While we do have our just natural war exhaustion moving up, we have definitely inflicted more battlefield defeats. So, although field is a relative term here, it's like, you know, I don't think you can count space as a field, obviously. Ooh. Mysterious spacefarers. Although we have been unable to discover much about the mysterious vessel in the Yamal system, the most convincing current hypothesis, based upon the behavior and patterns of the still undecipherable signals that we have intercepted from it, is that it belongs to a previously unknown spacefaring civilization. We are redoubling our efforts to translate their language so that communications can be established. Let's nab some for closer investigation. That requires a non-military Upsilon aliens vessel within sensor range. Well, it used to be, but not anymore, so keep at it.
Technology conceived.
Fusion missiles. These updated space-to-space missiles have more powerful fusion warheads and improved flight performance. So hull points are definitely nice. I mean, I'd like the minerals if I can, but I think the hull points are going to be a little more immediately useful, and they are relatively inexpensive.
Technology conceived.
Tactical disruption of natural habitats combined with converging
Our
search
special project is complete.
combined with converging search and destroy patterns can effectively eliminate hostile wildlife in a very short span of time. And after almost giving up hope, studying the accursed ceramic object for so long, we have reached a breakthrough. The object isn't really there, but rather is a projection from a higher dimension. Analyzing it as a shadow of a fourth-dimensional object, we have accumulated enough data to decrypt its message. The object teaches us how to improve all fields of research. The only question now is, who sent this information? So 15% bonus to research speed is nice. Now, social research. If I want, I can get rid of more tile blockers. The admin cap bonus seems kind of nice, as does the covert operations path. I saw a spider earlier. I think I've got the same one creeping up the wall again. Yeah, let's go for the administrative capacity. I feel a little bit... Oh, actually, you know what? We're doing all right now. We'll do the tile blockers after all. Again, I just want to get those numbers back in line, but it looks like we found our answer. I'm probably going to go for another hive district in the main... in, like, the capital. Another industrial district wouldn't hurt either. I don't know, though. Like, I don't have a lot of research planets. It's nothing to address. I'm not bothered by them. Like, and I don't know, like, the poisonous kinds around here. I used to be very arachnophobic, but now they're not. I think the word if I'm sufficiently annoyed, I will consider taking it outside. That's about as far as I go. But it's normally when they're being particularly obnoxious. So I have had, like, I've been, like, reading in bed, and all of a sudden, like, something blurry is in my vision, and I, like, it's like dangling right in front of me, like it's dangling its web down to, like, make me part of its web, and I'm like, no. Like, we've got a decent truce going on here, but this is a little too much. So, you know, just grab it and take it out of the apartment. But yeah, for the most part, though, they're just a feature. They eat the bugs. They mind their own business. Now this is interesting. I wonder why they're moving back. Because this, of course, makes it more tempting for me to try and take this area. Well, we don't just have to take it, we also have to hold it, but I'm pretty sure I can beat them up in time. I can't believe I'm gonna do this. Thing is, if we can do this without too many losses, it's not just that we get the toehold, it's that they have a weak capital world that we get to take next. Okay, so nobody's coming to its defense yet. Are they seriously just gonna let me take this? Jesus. Apparent hostility. The latest reports from Kalig Starsail, our diplomatic drone sent to investigate the Upsilon aliens, are highly concerning. Apparently, the alien ships have made several uncomfortably close passes to our ships with gun ports open. All the while, they have also been sending us a transmission of one of their individuals, a leader of some sort. We can only assume making odd gestures with their paws that would seem intent on causing harm. We are unsure whether they intend to provoke an incident, and if so, why they haven't made any outright hostile moves yet. Mimic their greeting back to them or ignore them. I'm totally fine with the hostile stances.
We have surveyed the system.
Alright, this is fascinating. They're just letting me beat them up and take their lunch money. So we may possibly be taking their home... We may possibly be taking their home world in a little while. We only lost one Corvette. That is what I call a good day's work. So we are definitely going to commit some resources to this. We don't exactly have that many science ships available, but I think this is a worthwhile exception. So one of the things I want to have happen before we put too much emphasis. Right now, they've got 862 strength fleet hiding around. Now we know that they have another fleet which is sort of floating around. What I want to do is I want to make sure that this starbase is at full health, so that basically it can bounce back the Horizon Core, and that after that we'll make a move on the home world. Why are they retreating from their home world? This is freaking me out a little bit. Asset identified. As the operation nears its conclusion, Spymaster Grog Beamsend has moved to secure our new asset within the Armathi Trading Coalition. Our remaining operatives are poised to facilitate any cover she may need. That's the operation. Spymaster Grog Beamsend reports that the Armathi Trading Coalition is a successful execution so far. We've lured an underappreciated member of the Armanthian citizenry whose attitude and contacts amongst the lower rungs of society are sure to aid our operations in various ways. Again, this is weird. I don't quite see I don't quite see why this is turning out the way that it is. It's almost like they're at war with someone else. Sparring partners. The Upsilon aliens respond to our transmission. The Upsilon aliens' response to our transmission ran one line long and was accompanied by their vessel pulling back from ours to a safer distance. Our language drones struggled long and hard to translate the missive, finally settling on the word, "Well sparred, alien, but this is just the beginning." It appears that this curious exchange has resulted in the Vivarians, as we now know them to be properly called, seeing us as rivals, or at least potential rivals. We can only assume that they are already preparing for the possibility of war with our ravenous hive. We shall be ready for them. So rivalry between presumed warriors added for 10 years, giving the following effects: diplomatic weight from fleet power plus 15%, monthly influence plus 0.5, Bavarian coalition's opinion of the fear changes by minus 30, influence gained 40, ends the first contact procedure with Bavarian coalition, and we'll find future first contact processes easier to complete.
The others reach out to make contact with our mind.
Alien creatures, I speak on behalf of Grand Marshal Guldorn Kerhursel, the undisputed ruler of the Bavarian coalition. Respect our borders and keep out of Bavarian affairs, and perhaps our mighty fleets will refrain from visiting your wretched worlds. We sense prey. Or Ravenous Hive will be watching you. We sense prey. And our drones in charge of researching the Upsilon aliens report alarming news. An attempt by them to hack into our computer systems has been detected. Unfortunately, it seems that they gained access to a considerable amount of sensitive information before we were able to shut off their access. We should be watchful of them and wary of any future moves they may make that could be detrimental to the Ravenous Hive. Okay, so we... Oh, okay, here we go. Man, there's some really big empires in the galaxy right now. I haven't closed the borders with us yet, but I have a feeling that's coming. And I guess for lack of any other options, we are sort of boxed in now. We will assist research on Phobos. The hateful Hydrazone was forced to return to Powter from Lavisco because it is within the borders of the Bavarian coalition.
Our construction is complete.
So now I want to try and get the YAML system and the Poru system as quickly as I can. Okay, so this is back up to 1.2k strength. I guess we'll wait for the wave breaker because it's already on the way. But I think we'll just say it's party time and go after their capital. I'm actually going to wait for them to move out now. So we need to spend some time as we cross the distance, and then should work out. Even these are moving back. Okay, so it looks like they're coming... Yeah, they're going to defend after all? Maybe?
Technology conceived.
The discovery of fusion power allows for better reactor boosters to be filled onto our ships. Okay, so... God, there's a lot of stuff that I want. Let's do the disruptor. I have a feeling I've signed myself up for a lot of war in a little while. Yeah, they're pretty much just abandoning the capital. If I'm lucky, I'm going to be able to... No. So we'll repair first, and then we'll... no, we didn't lose any ships. Mind you, that neither did they, so... Okay, so the Typhoon's ready to start the bombardment. Now again, I want to be careful if they... Okay, so it looks like they're actually getting ready to make a move. Now on its own, that's not frightening. If they just go after one of our star bases, they're gonna get hammered by the... defenses on their own. On the other hand, we are receiving a transmission from an independent space station of the Curator Order. They appear to have successfully translated our language. Pray. Greetings, Star Travelers. We are the Curators. An ancient order was established eons ago by the various galactic powers and ascendancy at the time. We were dedicated towards the preservation of all knowledge in an effort to safeguard the galaxy from descending into yet another dark age of mass extinctions and barbarism. We failed. Few of us remain today, but we are no less committed to our sacred mission than our predecessors were. We are willing to share some of our, share some of our knowledge with you for a price. Pray. So I want to know what their deal is here. Okay. They've thought better of it. Fair enough. What I am going to do, though, we've got 4 transports, so we are going to get started on the siege.
We sense a hostile swarm.
So that combined power might be enough to cause us some trouble here. Okay, it's an occupation starbase. So if I want, I can actually settle this status quo and keep the existing borders. I'm not going to. I'm gonna get super greedy now, but okay. Yeah, they're getting ready to make a move for sure. Which is fine in my opinion, because we should be able to move back and give them a best reply. I'm not worried about stopping the bombardment, so they're heading to the Menshib system. Okay, they already got the Poru system, so I don't have as many choke points as I wanted before. I mean, we'll get it back through war, but... we actually might be a bit late. Yeah, they're actually going for full strength, so we don't quite have the defensive capabilities to be able to hold this on our own. What I am hoping we do... Oh, get out of there, my friend. Oh, Jesus. I think discretion's a better part of valor when it comes to my army. Okay, they're committing.
Our void hive is under attack.
Okay,
Our void hive is under attack.
as long as they can hold out for a little bit longer. This might be a bit of a bloody fight because one of the 1.7Ks are coming in. The second one will be coming in later. And we're about to get swarmed. Wow. We didn't lose a single ship out of that. This one doesn't even need repairs. So I think what I'm going to do is we will still prepare the way for the next, for the invasion. So how strong are these things? So we've got a strength of 149 against 83, so even if they do have some defensive bonuses, we should be able to see this through. And then what I'm hoping my next steps will be actually to sort of hive off this little bit of the galaxy for me. It does look like they are upgrading their bases, so that's going to have some consequences for me as far as my overall health is concerned. But again, we seem to, yeah. So we pretty much wiped out their forces. The process of soil deposition normally takes millions of years with advanced tracking, chemical engineering, and hydraulic management technologies. That even the porous substrate can't be. That even the porous substrate can be turned into fertile topsoil. So, I think, given, I'm actually really surprised at these numbers. So we'll do gene crops first because we clearly need the food, and then I need to figure out why the hell I'm spending so much money on stuff all of a sudden.
Our construction is complete.
Stick with what I got right now. So I'm mostly worried about the energy at the moment, but I'm hoping we'll get through it. Okay. So I'm actually gonna reorganize the forces a little bit. So we're all going to sit outside the Suth system. So there is a bit of a risk that I'm taking here because the Aramis system doesn't really have that strong of a defense. And I am about to send my general there, but we also don't see any ships sort of in the area. So I'm just going to try and take that capital as early as I can. And see if we can make it work. Okay, we're on the prosperity track. So in this case, I think monthly energy credits is what the doctor ordered. See if we can use that to bring the hive back into the black. So I'm going to try and get these to sort of stack. And then send them out. Okay, so we lost a ship. So we'll get a replacement Corvette, but
Technology conceived.
still looking pretty good. Advances in building techniques allow for the construction of sturdier and more durable Corvettes. When I
Our
can, we'll
construction
take
is
advantage of it,
complete.
but right now let's just push ahead and do what we can. In this case, I'm actually going to do super solid materials. It's 1,000 more, but it does line up with my existing tech, and it does help me on the science front. And holy crap, are we short on food. I'm going to stay the course on it, but that is something I want to keep a close eye on. This will be an interesting test. So right now the garrison's 83, we're coming in with 149, so we should be able to take this.
We have assimilated knowledge.
We've analyzed the debris in the menship. Full fusion power plus 10, physics research 80, engineering 60. Cool. Yeah, they don't have a general, so their capital world is definitely not well defended.
Enemy nest taken.
So I'm curious if we start eating people right away. Yeah, it looks like we do. Well, that's the food situation taken care of. I don't quite see why I just suddenly lost 45 energy credits, but okay. Oh, it's because of the... right. So what I can do in this case is prioritize tech drones? Or I can try selling off resources. Okay, let's just leave it. I'm going to leave it be for a bit. Let's see. I don't know, I really can't afford to. Okay. Pains me to do it, but not maintenance. I'm guessing this is about the maintenance drones. Let's see if we can push it. Okay, so here I'm gonna loosen things up a little bit. That doesn't make sense either, but okay. We're gonna go into this system next. So I'm partly just kind of cutting off the... Oh, actually, this is going to be their other capital as well. Partly now I'm just considering planets that... or the systems that might be in line with my overall goals. Here's actually one thing that I can do. We can... I think in this case here, all farms are closed until further notice. We are gonna have to, put them back, but for now, this is wasteful. Okay, and apparently I've created unemployment, so let's cover. All right, thank you very much for stopping by, Glenby. It's just we're finally winning. This is, I mean, let's not forget this is a war that the AI started. So I was definitely not expecting this outcome. Okay, so one thing I got to keep in mind is that this is a temporary state of affairs. We're not going to be able to eat the enemy. We're not going to be able to eat the enemy forever, but at least here we're going to be able to. We're going to be able to make some progress at least. The other question I have is, so obviously if I can get, it looks like we're already growing our own hive here. So I'm wondering if I can just like turn off everything. So if I just say like everything's off. It's still taking 35. So why is that? Right, okay. And I guess there's no real way for me to turn these things off. Well, that's fine. You know what? I'm okay. I'm okay paying the penalties for a while just so we can grow into the overall production. With maybe the exception of this building. Okay. So we'll wait for a replacement Corvette to arrive, and then we're going to move on to this system. We'll actually get the army in place. So I suspect if we want, like, total control, it's... Oh, actually, you know what? We probably should pick...
We have assimilated knowledge.
We should probably pick our targets a little more carefully. I am going to try and take Coastlight. But yeah, the attrition is a thing. So let's try and grab whatever planets we can to, you know, just have a snack. This is 197, so we should be able to take that on our own.
We sense a hostile swarm.
Damn it. I mean, it's smart of them, right? But you do not want to be any part. You do not want to have any part of what's coming. So they may take the system back, but we have the army, so. And again, that might push a status quo ending.
We flee the hostile swarm.
Okay, so their big guys arrived first. We're still like 2 months away. I don't know if this thing's going to be able to hold out, but fingers crossed. What gives with the maintenance drones? Why are they... We'll be forced to make peace 24 months. Okay, I can work with that. Although we did lose another Corvette. Okay, so we're gonna repair. I want to know where this other Corvette went.
The others speak.
Nope. Okay, so we're gonna move the Typhoon up to Sooth. When the White Crush is ready, we'll do the same. This is just so that we can grab... So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to lock in as many complementary locations as I can. Oh, I actually see why I'm seeing some higher costs here. I'm going to have to dismantle some star bases. Okay, sophisticated genetic engineering of crops helps increase yield and further improves both taste and nutrient levels. Okay, so let's do... Hive Nexus is really tempting. Okay, so the Black Tide's gonna have to sit tight for a little while.
We have surveyed the system.
Okay, that's good news there. I should probably have another system where I'm doing research on, because right now this science ship is pretty useless to me. But we'll worry about that later. So apparently we still don't know the status of their fleets. That's kind of important, because if we find out that they're that they're stronger than me, I don't want to turn around and discover. I think I'm just gonna have to accept the unrest. White Crusher is taking its time to repair. Okay. So, I mean, obviously, this strategy served us because we were not ready for the war. We were not ready for the fight when it came to us. The drawback is that now that we're really getting ready to chow down, we're at the limit.
We have assimilated knowledge.
Always welcome news.
We sense a hostile swarm.
Okay, should just take a second to see what's going on there. So this we can send the Black Tide to go deal with. There's probably going to be more
Our
allies that are
construction
coming.
is complete.
I am expanding. So one problem here is that I'm expanding at a time when my cap is high. My hope is that that's gonna sort of resolve itself when after a couple of I'm going to be doing some reviews. I'm going to be messing around a little bit with my worlds to make sure that they look the way I want them to look. and right now, okay, we've got 1 year to wrap this thing up. Okay, these guys are looking a bit stronger. I want to keep an eye on that, but we should still be able to hold it. And again, the longer we wait, the more systems we're going to be able to claim.
Hostile swarm engaged.
So this is actually some pretty good news for me. So what we can do is we can redirect the fleet through the Cocyte system so that we take Taurus and double back to Emsky. And then while we do that, the Black Tide is going to take these little systems over here. So we're probably going to be able to claim this whole upper area without too much trouble. What's the defensive force look like? Yep, something we can handle, so just wait for the base to fall. That's excellent news. We did not lose any ships. Disruptors fire high-energy bolts that weaken and destroy the molecular bonds that hold the target's constituent atoms together. They are capable of passing through shields and armor to wreak havoc directly on enemy hull and crew. Okay, let's go for the auxiliary fire control. Let's catch up on some of the research that we left behind. Wow, are we... Okay, we're not quite done yet, but... So again, we'll let the ships repair before I start celebrating too early. It's pretty important that I take, once these ships are repaired, that I go through this system and then this system so that I can clear out the enemy units. If I don't do that, then I can't move the Black Tide into a more aggressive position. So I'm okay being patient. Though the game may not be.
The others speak.
So I probably lost some days off of that, but I'm impatient. Ooh, yeah. Let's hope this is a fast fight.
Planetary infestation begun. Enemy nest taken.
Cool. Alright. Despite recent skill improvements owing to accumulated experience, General Shulk Shifttide seems to be approaching the limits of his abilities. Implicated in a plot. We have been implicated in a plot against the Armathi Trading Coalition. So vague is the allegation that we cannot definitively state whether or not they are onto something. Our own spies protest that the allegation is baseless, claiming that this is likely either a defensive or counter-espionage response from one of our targets, or else a smear campaign being conducted by some third party. Whatever the reason or cause, the Armathi Trading Coalition have taken offense. Gee, whatever will I do with the people we are at war with having a low opinion of me? Okay. Very unlikely we are going to be able to hop into these other systems, but let's give it a shot. There is another invasion that I can do, so we're going to get...
Our construction is complete.
Okay, so I think at this point they can force peace. I'll grab whatever I can, but... I'm gonna wait a minute. I don't want to get too greedy with this stuff. We've been doing a pretty good job so far of avoiding losses. Holy crap, that's a lot of destroyers. Okay, so we should be repairing.
Planetary infestation begun. Technology conceived.
Hive Nexus, robust frameworks for local governance created on a per-case basis to meet the colony's needs. Let's do... We'll do the energy siphon because it's cheap. Cheap is my favorite price. This is going to be a nightmare to try and control, by the way. Like, I do like trying to get choke points, but...
Enemy nest taken.
More territory is always a nice claim. Although, obviously here I've probably bitten off a little more than I can chew. I am also a little tempted to try and take these wormholes. Alright, this is probably overkill. So we're probably gonna have to start selling stuff to get the energy credits back. For now, I'm just gonna try and ride it out. And again, I want to take the Soyun system, but I want to try and focus on being able to claim areas that I can hold. Alright, we will agree to end this conflict as the borders currently stand. Fair enough, they wanted to avoid the major losses. We have to accept this for now. So, what we do, we take all these ships. Apparently there's no upgrades to be done, which surprises me a little bit. Send him back home for a little bit, and then we get ready for the war with these guys. So I think we have a 10-year, basically it's 10 years peace with these guys. I don't know if they're going to be that big of a threat to me in the future. There are a couple things I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to do a quick audit of my space station. So it seems to me these three, well, maybe actually men's ship I want to keep, but Sooth and Pharathon do not make sense to hang on to. These do because they're sort of bordering enemy territory. So we still have too many star bases, but we can start by we can really start by just cutting out this nonsense. We're not going to dismantle them, obviously, but the rest of them, sadly, I do feel inclined to keep just because they are like they're neighboring hostile territory. Mind you, we are running short on cash, so maybe we do downgrade menship because it's sort of, it's not that important anymore. And Cocyte is actually, so this is a planet that we actually like have drones on. So I guess the question is, do I spike S-Mike or Taurus? Okay, so at least this is in line. Our sprawl is appalling, but that's life. Okay, powder. I think at this point here, I just need to start getting the food jobs back. So, like, one of the things that should be happening here is that I'm taking all of this surplus that's coming from the food, and I'm preparing for that time when the hive is huge and we're not generating that food. Like, so, oh, it doesn't say from production. So from the worlds that we're harvesting right now, so we're getting 45 out of that, 119. So it's like 150 of our food is coming from chowing down on these things. Now, admittedly, we're generating less food because I've like taken those jobs out of my, out of my systems. But still, like, there's going to be a really big bill that comes due, and I don't think I'm quite ready to handle that. So actually, you know what? We are at the 3-hour mark. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting it to end this way. I was getting ready for another early defeat because they were definitely stronger than we were. The real thing they messed up on was that they were definitely stronger than me fleet wise, but they were not strong enough to break through the sort of like the home base. So kind of the big consequence for them was just they like when they made that initial invasion effort, it smacked down their ships, so that caused a lot of attrition to go up for them. And then what it meant was that I was more or less guaranteed to have that extended period of time to sort of gear up. And as you can see, like, we went from something like a 40 cap to now 133. So we almost doubled the size of our navy over the course of that particular war. You know, a consequence of that was just simply, you know, now we have a whole bunch of extra space. It's a little bit of a white elephant, of course, because we're bleeding cash. I don't really have an idea about how I'm going to make this all work. My largest cost seems to be from districts. So I suppose in the worst case scenarios, we just start, you know, shutting down buildings that I don't really need. I mean, all of these I kind of want. Maybe some of these others I don't necessarily need. It's hard to say, though, right? Like, I mean, I suppose the one thing I could do would be to demolish a few of these. It's weird, though, because I always thought that if you weren't using a building, you wouldn't be paying the maintenance on it. Anyways. Assuming that I can get past my economic woes, I feel like we are in a pretty strong position. I was sort of wondering where the expansion, where the opportunities would be coming from, and it turns out the person I was scared of is where the biggest opportunities arose. I am a little curious what the deal is with this force. I am somewhat confident in the fact that we can probably grab the systems that we want off of them. I'm not so sure, though, we could keep them. So the important thing to remember when you go to war is you either need to inflict enough damage on them so that you can settle status quo, or you need to be able to hold what you got long enough that you can force peace, like the people who invaded me did. And if you don't know, so I have no idea what their navy looks like. I don't know anything about their relations with people. They're like, anything could go. Excuse me. And so the last thing I want to do is sort of like wake up and find out that they've got like 10k fleet power or something like that. I can get a little bit of a hint. I think if I go to the victory square... Yeah, okay. So, actually, you know what? They're not that big. They have a big economy. We out-tech them. Yeah, I don't know. The biggest worry I have is the admin cap. Well, that and the energy. But assuming I can get an answer to the energy crisis, maybe... I mean, we're a devouring swarm, right? That's kind of the name of the game. You eat everything. Either way, though, considerations for another time. Actually, so especially given the fact that this is the strongest power, I don't think it would be a bad idea for me to do a nice early war and then just try and just try and take them apart. Even if I have to wind up selling a whole bunch of food, that just seems to be a decent way to to keep the expansion going. I also need to get my minerals back up, but anyways, like I said, all of it is consideration for another time. This was fun though. I'm kind of glad that we had some action to go on here, because I know sometimes my approach can be a little bit ponderous, and I don't know. I like playing Stellaris this way, but I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. So I'm going to find somebody to host tonight. You'll also probably hear every YouTube video available on that platform make noise.
Okay,
I'm going
now,
I know.
what is
try
supervised
and-
classification? What is supervised
try and cut it off, but
But there it was. So now I really, had some money, and I had.
okay. Who's online? Let's find out. There's a few good people, but you know what? I have not had a chance to host Valiant Cheese in a while, so this is going to be a change of pace. So Valiant Cheese is an Australian game developer. He's based in Tasmania. I found him through it's basically a bee-themed city builder that he made called Hive Time. I streamed that game. He was very, very nice about it, and came into the channel, was pleasant to hang out with. I actually collaborated with him on a game as well. But he's currently working on a sort of Flappy Birdish, the moon landing game. I can't remember what it was called. Anyways, he's working on his new game. I believe it's due out on the 24th. So this might be interesting. I know a few of you do have aspirations to become game designers, and so this would be a good chance to ask him some questions. He uses Godot and Blender, so both of those are free tools. And he's a bit of a jack of all trades, so he knows a little bit of everything. He is a great person to follow if you want to know a little bit more about how games are made. He also worked for Defiant, so that's the people who did Hand of Fate and Hand of Fate 2. He's also worked for Tim Schafer's company. I know I'm running out of time. What's it called? Day of the Tentacle People. Day of the Devs. Double Fine. Anyways, Wednesday I'm probably doing Phantom Brigade, or maybe Industries of Titan. We'll find out. Friday I will be back with Wolfenstein, and tomorrow there will be another episode of The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Have fun with Valiant Cheeses. See you then. I'm done.